Jai Jaineel, everyone. It's so lovely to have you all here and to be speaking about the environment from a Jain perspective. So we have, one of our scriptures called the Dharma Sutra, one of our ancient scriptures, has a teaching that goes Parasparo Graho Jivanam. And what this means is that all life is bound together by mutual support and interdependence. Or, as an alternate translation, you could say that every soul renders a service to each other. So it's not just the human perspective or the human, just the humans that we're considering here, just humans and animals, but literally all living beings, right? Because in Jainism, the concept of jiva or life, jiva means life, not only extends to humans, animals, but all forms of life, including plants, including little, insects, like even a tiny, scary little spider, the ones that cause most of you to run around your homes in fear, running away. All of those kind of creatures are considered jiva, and every single one of them values its life, right? We know that. We see that. When we go to get that spider out of our house, I certainly hope everyone does it that way and not just hoovers it up or stamps on it or something. But when we go even to take it out with like a cup or something, you'll see that tiny little creature trying to run as fast as it can away from you because it's fearful. It's fearful of its life. Every creature values its life, and that's the foremost principle that Jainism conveys, that because every creature values its life, it's our responsibility as humans, because humans have the intellectual capability to save as much life as possible. And when you have that attitude that yes, we are, we have that intellect, like a lion can't differentiate between whether a deer is more valuable or a human is more valuable. To him, both are just food, right? Whereas we have, the capability to differentiate between life forms, like, and acknowledge that even trees possess life. And it's that kind of thinking that then makes ecological harmony a natural consequence. Thinking that myself and the environment are exactly the same. Because when you're identifying with the environment and with other beings, just as extensions of yourself, that's what then leads to environmental harmony. And so when it comes to climate change, like we all know what the issue is, right? We see it all the time. We've watched documentaries on this, we've read about it. We know that higher temperatures are wreaking havoc on the ability of plants and animals to survive in environments, because these environments are changing faster than species can adapt. We know that tens of thousands of plants and animal species are going extinct every single year due to habitat loss, due to changing climate. We know that forests are getting drier. We know that wildfires are becoming increasingly like more prevalent and destructive. We can see this effect of climate change every day, just around us, right? And it's what can we do as not just in the Jain religion, not in the Jain tradition, but also as human beings, intellectual beings. What can we do, right? And this is the call to action we will discuss obviously later on in the breakout rooms. But I just want to give you guys some food for thought as to what the kind of things that we discuss within our groups, right? It's a simple act of merely stopping to think, right? Where does everything that I use come from? For example, take like the simple case of like a simple pencil. Yeah, something that you probably use every single day. Do you guys know where that comes from? Do you know how many raw materials are required to make that little pencil? I didn't know. Okay, when I first read this, I was like, wow. So you start first with the trees that are chopped over and then transported over. These are then cut into like little pencil shapes and thickness. Then the graphite needs to be mined and transported over. This graphite's then mixed with clay, and then there's ammonium hydroxide that's used, and There's like lacquer that gets applied. I mean, I don't even know the ingredients of lacquer, right? We don't know the like growers of castor beans and refiners of castor oil. These are all part of the pencil making process. So when you realize that something as simple as a pencil has so many things in the background, that's when you start thinking about your impact on the environment, right? And you actually start like reflecting, okay, and it was as Finn said, living within my means. Do I need so many things, or can I survive with just X, Y, and Z? And that's the principle of Jainism, is to try and survive, live, within our means, live as with little harm to the environment as possible. You're never going to get to a place where you cause no harm to the environment, right? Because just by merely, like we're householders at the end of the day, we have to do certain things that might not always be good for the environment. But the aim is to minimize it as much as we can. First thing I think that is necessary for all of us to do is to be informed. Yeah. So the more you guys know, the better it is, because it leaves us all better equipped to have these conversations around action with friends, with family, with people that we might be able to influence. So it's on us to get ourselves clued up with facts, stay up to date with relevant news, and then we can work out what to do. So traveling responsibly, that's a huge thing, right? That's one of the most efficient ways of lowering your environmental impact, is just by traveling responsibly. So whenever you can, you choose a more sustainable way to get from A to B, or walk or cycle. You'll burn calories as well, right? Eating sustainably, now that's a huge thing, right? And in Jainism, you'll know that our diet makes up a lot of the discussion. So in Jainism, uh, diet is a huge part of Jainism, right? Because you'll know that all Jains are naturally vegetarians, because ahimsa is at the forefront of our religion, which means we cannot cause harm to any other living being, right? And I know that's difficult to transition over to that sort of a diet, but if that fills you with fear, then at least you can start small, because a vegetarian vegan diet in most cases is better for the environment than a flexitarian or a non-vegetarian diet, when you consider things like greenhouse gas emissions, land use, freshwater use, water pollution, etc. It is a complex issue, however. So it's your personal dietary footprint that you need to consider, and there are many factors around that. So, but it's good to at least know the facts behind it. So that's traveling responsibly, that's eating sustainably, and then using your voice. That's one of the most important things, right? We are the first generation to know that we're destroying the world, and we could, in fact, be the last that can do anything about it. So speaking up is one of the most powerful things that we can do, especially if it's to the right people.